With me in the studio today is Adaeze Vibes. I know that's her Instagram name. Yeah. So Adaeze is in the studio with me, and she's one of those people that I'm very, very excited to have on the podcast. Like, yay!
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you. Okay, so I'm one of the people who've been following Adaeze. Like, we're just following from the sidelines, cheering and just watching. I'm like, how's she doing what she's doing? Adaeze is a content creator. She's an entrepreneur, right?
Yep.
And she's doing all of these amazing things. And I think that one of the things that interests me when I first started to follow her was she was this lady who left school and then went straight into building her own thing and doing her own thing. And for me, it felt like, how did she get this level of audacity? Like, how? Because I know when leaving school, the first thing for me, I didn't even think about starting my own stuff. My head was, where are they hiring? Where's the next job? Let me get a job. So I think that's where I would like to start the conversation from, which was like, how did you have that audacity? What gave you the morale to just go straight on for it?
Okay, so I think I have to probably pick. I was about to say piggyback. I hate that word so much. But yeah, I think starting from uni, I mean, I was studying medicine.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I failed out of medicine, so I had to switch to another course. And at the time, I actually wanted to go to your school to study media and communications. And
wow.
I wrote JAMB all over again, honestly. So I just come to this point, I wasn't enjoying medicine. And creating content was like my little escape. That was the thing that gave me joy, honestly. So when I failed out, after much, my school gave me a chance to like just continue with a medical related course and just finish in 2 years. So I was just like, I'm not going to practice anyway, whatever. Let's just get this done with. So I went back and I did that. So like for that period of being in school, I think creating content, I just started to get better at it. I was very invested in creating videos. I really enjoyed it and stuff. So graduating, I don't know, honestly. And I actually graduated in 2019 and I came to Lagos 2020, January. I did a course in filmmaking, short course. And as soon as I finished, I don't know, to me, that was just the next logical thing was to create for people. Because I was already doing it in school. I was doing social media management. I was creating content on the side. So like, I didn't have any other consideration. I don't know which audacity or where the audacity came from, but I think I sort of just knew like failing out of medicine was a pivotal point of my life. It was what puts me on the path of media, content, things like that.
Yeah.
So for me, I didn't think about I wanted to work in it. That was never my dream. My dream was always, I enjoy being in front of the camera, actually.
Yeah.
As much as I enjoy being behind it, I enjoy editing. So for me, that was just like, it was just logical. I didn't think about, I never considered working anywhere or finding a job. And my parents, funny enough, never actually asked me any questions, which is very strange.
Wow.
Very, very strange because they were all bent on this medicine thing. And when it didn't work out, they're like, okay, let's move it to America. Let's show you content. I'm like, that's not the point. I don't want to do medicine. So like when I graduated, I think I didn't give them a chance to question me. Yeah. I came back from school and I'm like, I'm going to Lagos in 2 weeks. Where are you going to? So I'm going to my brother's house. And what's happening? Just going. So they didn't even realize I was going to start freelancing or working or building my brand. They just thought they probably thought I was going on holiday to come back. Because I remember my dad would call me and be like, okay, when are you coming back? And I'm just like, I don't know yet. So that's literally how I moved. Nobody thought I had moved when I moved.
Wow.
And I came here and people already sort of knew from Instagram. And I was just like, oh, do you create videos? And that's how I started.
Oh, that's really very beautiful. And I think also is the fact that you were doing it while in school, so it really helped because I didn't start creating content until I was done with school. I think there was this Amin, Amin.
Yes, Amin helped a lot of us. Yeah,
I came out of school and then I joined one group that she had on WhatsApp. Yeah, and then through that, I then discovered the world of social media. So it was after school and I think I had already gotten a job at that point or I was yet to get a job or in between. I can't remember all the story. But it's like we've gone on a journey with you. It's like you were in school when you finished. So it makes sense. And it's beautiful to think that you already had a game plan. Actually, people like you are very, very rare.
Did I really have a game? I was going with the flow, honestly. As much as I'm a planner, I'm very much go with the flow. I didn't really know what I was going to do when I came out of school, but it just happened. It was the natural progression, and I just went with it. I didn't consider. I don't know. I don't.
You didn't consider failing.
I already failed out of medicine. I don't think I had any fear of failing.
Okay.
I know how to pick myself up and just get into the next thing. Even when I win at something, which is a bad thing. I don't stop to say, oh my God, this is really good. Celebrate yourself, blah, blah. I'm always on to so that's the same attitude I have to failing. Like, for me, it's just, okay, what's next? So it's the same way that I navigated failing out of medicine. It taught me a lot.
Yeah.
I failed out of medicine doesn't make me, like, I'm smart and intelligent as hell. Like, if you don't know it, that's your business. Because obviously everybody in my class had moved on, and it was just like, this girl, maybe she does not have, like, she's not. I could have felt that way because it was the common, people were talking. I was sort of popular in school. So I was known. People knew the class I was in, and then all of a sudden you're no longer there. So there's plenty talk going on. But like, I'm so glad. I don't know how, but I'm really grateful that it didn't really affect my self-esteem or how I felt about myself. I was very sure of who I was. I was very sure. I just knew, like, this is not my path. And it's as simple as that. So what's next? Yeah, and it was after that I started managing social media. I hated it, honestly. I hate the social media management part of things.
Oh, wow. I think, and now that I think about it, when I think about when I finished school, I was scared of failing. I don't think I had ever failed at anything.
Yeah.
So it was just very, for me, it's like, what's the next thing after school? Is to get a job. That's what everybody does after. So thinking about any other thing felt like a taboo. Like what are you talking about? It's to get a job. That was just the next. So even when I got a job, and I think that I struggled for a while, it was, for me, a reality check. Like, shit, why am I failing? I was very good at school. I graduated to an upper class. So I was, if you're calling like the very first 5 people who were good in school, you probably know me there. And then it was like, I struggled. And I think that's something, to hear you talk, it feels like you had an identity outside of academics, outside of work, and it's really, I don't know if you know it, but it's very beautiful, because like, I had beaten myself up when I was struggling with work, because now that I think about it, to be fair, I should have given myself more grace, because when you just go straight from school into, even though we think that
it's a whole different world,
ball game.
honestly.
Yes, it's a whole ball game, and it's normal for you to struggle. If you don't struggle, then you've probably been doing it for a while, and
but even when you're doing it for a while, you will. There's struggle is inevitable. It's part of life.
Yeah, and even learning now that failure is also part of success. It's what you take, and now it's now making me maybe if I'd gotten a little bit of taste of failure in between school, I probably would have been more prepared. Yes. And I probably would not have been. So like, now hearing you say, oh, your parents didn't even know what you were going to do. It's like, me and my mom were literally planning my life. It's like, this is so like, it's very good to see that.
It's actually interesting, because they actually, till today, my mom has never really questioned. She has asked me, okay, so what are you doing? And I'm like, I create content. I'm like, she doesn't really get it. But she's also,
I don't think they ever get that part.
She's also not against it. You get me? Like, she has never said, when will you get a job? When will you? So I'm really grateful for that sort of freedom in a way. Yeah. But I feel it's also the way I've positioned myself. I don't allow myself to be questioned by them. I'm just... And I'm the last child in my house. Is a problem.
Can I say that plays a role? I'm sorry. Because when I look at my sister now and she gets to choose certain things, it's like, I didn't get to choose though. My sister tells you, I'm not going to that school. This is one I want to go to. And everybody's just going to find a way to make it work out. But me, I'm like, okay,
I'm the only girl too. And I'm the first girl. So there's still there's a balance of pressure. I don't know how to explain it.
Okay.
Well, I feel like I don't know. I have this nonchalant attitude. I don't know whether it's good or bad. But when my people ask me questions, it's like, I'm just doing... I talk about it like it's not that deep. And I feel like maybe that makes them look at me like, is this girl even serious in life?
But I think it's a very good way to look at life, because life shouldn't really be that serious.
Yeah, like, I'm okay with it. Yeah.
Like I'm sitting down here and I'm just like, wow. Someone could think. Now I think about, now it's not that deep. All these things that we carry so heavy. Life is really shouldn't be that deep. And it's so nice to see that even from, fresh out of school, from a young age, you already had that ability to realize that nothing is really that deep.
I think I got that from my dad. Was a very free spirited. And he transferred the free spirited. That's one thing I'm really grateful for myself. I don't take things too seriously. Like I say sometimes that I don't know how we got here, but I've never been heartbroken. Because I don't take things, I don't know how to explain it. I always say, like, I feel like there's nothing I cannot come back from. There's nothing that can, I haven't experienced it yet. But I feel like I think it's a good mindset to have.
It's beautiful.
It's not that at the end of the day, all of us are going to die and move on to the...
Like it's a beautiful way to see life, because even sometimes where you plan and you think that things is going to go the way you've planned them to be, life is just going to live, which is one of the most beautiful things I have learned as an adult. It's like life is going to live, and so you need to have a place in your heart where it's like you're making plan, but you're still making plan for life happening. So it's like if it happens, okay, I'm still going to pick myself up, because that's one you realize there's some people who are not where they want to be right now, but they can't pick themselves up and keep moving.
Yeah, because we're so bent on a path.
Yes.
And oh my God, I had a friend of mine that sort of had that experience. Like we were in medical school together, and then she also failed out. And I feel even till now, I think it's just now that she's sort of coming to a point of, okay, so what's next? Because there was never an option. That was all she was focused on. And I don't blame her. I mean, some people, that's just how they are.
Yeah.
And it's okay, honestly. But
I don't know if I would say it's okay, because I think that
you can develop the skill.
You need to learn the skill to let you. Yeah, you need. And there's one thing one of my bosses would say. This is Maya. So shout out to Maya. And she would say, you don't have to pass through the front door. There's so many ways to go. You can go through the windows.
Yes.
You can go through. You can achieve like through different. Like a lot of people are so bent on going through. Oh, this is the one way. This is the only way I have to go in. Like she was like, girl, find another way. If you have to find, like, even if it doesn't, the timing might differ and all of that. But as long as you get to where you're going to, is that not it? Just
the focus is like where am I going to? It doesn't matter if I have to enter like whatever the way it is.
As long as it's legal and nobody's dying and I'm happy. Let's go. So, like, I think, guys, we just learned, it's just been a few minutes with Adaeze, and we've learned a very vital lesson. So I'm very excited to keep talking to you. So now, you've been doing this for a while. How long have you been creating content, owning your own thing?
Okay, so I randomly opened a YouTube video, I think in 2017. And that was my first content creation thing. And then since then until now, I guess, I dabbled into Instagram. I don't know, I always love video. I don't know how I fell in love with video, but I really enjoy creating videos. What am I eating? Sorry. But yeah, so yeah, 26, that's a while. I mean, it hasn't been consistent. It's mostly consistent. I haven't been consistent in terms of putting out, but I'm always creating. Is it I'm creating behind the scenes for brands, or I'm creating for myself, or whatever the case. But I've been doing it for a while, and it's been interesting.
And what are the challenges? I mean, you make it seem so easy, but come on, girl. I've tried this thing for a while, and it's not that easy. What are some challenges you face?
Easy at all. Okay, so I'm thinking the challenge. My content creation journey has been sort of okay. So I started with creating content for YouTube. First part is like you don't make money easy. Like it's not. Don't ever think that you're going to make money.
Tell me about it.
So I never got monetized for YouTube until 2020. I think that will honestly be, I would say, is the major challenge. Just persevering enough through not making as much as you deserve to make. Until the point when the harvest starts to come. And also the Nigerian factor, of course. Like I feel like I maybe like 10 steps behind than people that are wherever else that it could be in terms of monetary. I'm still talking about money because at the end of the day,
yeah, making money is the goal.
Yeah, but apart from that, honestly, I feel like content creation has been a joy. I don't really have any other issues, or I've not experienced any other. I don't see any other thing as a challenge with creating content. Oh yes, one more thing. The other part I would say, I don't know whether I would call it imposter syndrome. I have maybe that's my personal problem, and overthinking when it's time to put out content. And so I realized I used to enjoy content creation a lot, but when it became a money-making venture, when that factor came in, there became this extra pressure of, I need to put out content that is good, and then you now start overthinking, is this not good enough, and nitpicking things. I think that's those two have been the things that I've experienced the most. And this is more recent, and I keep asking myself, like, why do I care so much about it being like, what is even perfect? I don't know where that notion came from, that there needs, I mean, I hold myself to a standard of excellence, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like there just has to be a balance between you trying to be excellent and not letting that stop you from putting out the work that you do, right? And so I think striking that balance has been a major thing for me as well.
Yeah, and also I think when you get to a certain level in life or at a particular thing, you start to maybe compare.
Yes.
Do you do that?
Okay, so for me, honestly, when it comes to creative work, I don't really do that, honestly.
Okay.
I would say the only time I would say I've compared myself with anybody would be in general in life. In terms of like, I feel like I have really high expectations of myself. And I'm not quarter way anywhere where I thought I would be at this point. So sometimes when I see people who I feel like are in the positions I want to be in, or I thought I would be in, it's like, okay, so what are they doing differently than? So I've had those moments for sure. Yeah, but I don't indulge in comparison a lot. Yeah, I can't remember the year, but there was a year I had like a period of just comparing with everybody, and I wasn't happy. And I identified that that's the reason. You're not focused on what you're supposed to be focused on. You're looking at everything else but where you're going to. And so it had to be a process that I had to go through with God to renew my mind, literally change the mindset of thinking, of looking everywhere else but where you are, and just realizing like your journey is your journey.
Yep.
Everybody's story is very different. So if you're looking here, your eyes are not where you're supposed to be, and you're delaying yourself by comparing yourself. So yeah, for me, I've dealt a little with comparison.
I mean, I feel like one of the hardest thing about being a content creator is seeing every other person do. And you can, like when I work in corporate, you don't necessarily know how much I earn.
Yeah.
So you can't really compare yourself or any other person. We can all be working at different places, but you have no idea. So it's easy for me to form them anymore or be laid back. You can't really see. But when it comes to content creation, where you have numbers, where it's like, oh, this person has grown then 100K, you're still probably at 50K on YouTube. You can see their subscribers. Like everything is out there, and you can always
the numbers game.
Yeah, that numbers game is like I sit down sometimes, I'm like, man.
And you know how I thought about the number thing?
Okay.
I used to think about that, honestly, not gonna lie. But more recently, my mind is just like, because I feel like I've been creating content for a while and I've not grown to a point that I feel like I should have grown, right? And I can tell myself, okay, so what's the problem? Yeah. But like at the end of the way I look at it is this, right? If I had 15,000 people sitting in front of me, like, if I had 1,000 people sitting in front, do you understand what that means?
Yes, that's a lot.
We're living in a virtual world, and that's why it doesn't feel like it's so real. But think about that you have the attention. Every time you make a post, 200 people see your post. So think about it literally, if they were right in front of you.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because how what's that O2 studio, that Davido and Wizkid keep filling up? It's just 10,000, right? Yeah.
So
and you have over that.
It's crazy. So I think, I mean, people might have more like more people's attention, but it doesn't matter. You have your people to serve. And like there's that thing that that used to say that if you focus on serving the people at your table, then the more people will come to the table. But if your focus is how do I get more people here, and you forget people that are here, who are these people here are the people that are going to help you get those other people to come to the table. So so for me it's just like, I'm happy with where I am.
I think that it is good to actually acknowledge. I think actually what I was going to say is contentment. When you're in the content game, you need to be very content, and you need to have a strong identity outside of the numbers. Plus, also realize that as much as you make content, you don't have the power of what the algorithm is going to do.
Exactly.
It's like you can't control it. All of these things
you can control is what you're
when you put it out there. It's like you can control having a guest in front of you, record, put out the great content. I mean, look why we're here, trying to make sure that the picture is good, the lighting is good. Those are things that I can control. But once I put it out there,
what happens from there is not.
It's not in my power. I can try to promote, do things and get people to get it. But Instagram and Mark Zuckerberg and all them people,
they will do what
they're gonna do. So sometimes it's beyond, and when you can't really control something, I don't think it makes sense to worry a lot about it. Instead, worry on the things that you can control and how you can get better in the process of it. Because if you keep focusing on what you can't control, you spend too much time on the extras and the core things, which you say, like the people who already listen or people who already follow you, then you're going to ignore them. And the truth is, those people are your loyalists because they're the ones that would probably pay for whatever thing you want to sell at along the line, right? But let's also talk about the fact that you start making money from content creation. There are not a lot of people, or let's say there are people who do content creation and they want to make money. They don't make money yet, but it seems like you already cracked that nut. So how did you get into the process of, making your content creation a money-making business?
Okay, so the first time I ever earned from content was, I was still in school then. A random brand just sent me their clothes and said I should help them make content for their page, actually. Okay. So it was like, UGC wasn't a thing then, but that was what it was. And I got paid I think 20 or 30K.
Wow.
And I was very pleased with myself. I'm like, okay, so there's potential here. I never really made much again from content. I'm not counting the social media management, just content creation until my YouTube. No, actually, not before then. When I graduated and I moved to Lagos in 2020, I started making money from classes because I had learned a lot about editing. So 2020, I did at least 3 WhatsApp classes. And those classes were always full. Wow. Yeah, that period, I was so happy with my kids. Just like, you're inside your house. I just graduated from school. I was creating content. My Instagram was growing little by little, but it was the classes that really gave me money in 2020. Yeah, I made some good millions then. I was very, I was so pleased because that time everybody's at home, confused, what was really happening here? And I was cashing out. I was so pleased. It gave me so much joy. I was like, okay, that was the first time I saw the potential I could have as a creator. It opened my mind a lot, and I'm really grateful for that experience. It's not like it's life-changing money, but for me, it was like, if I can make this from just small WhatsApp class that I'm charging how much, then there's so much more. People would actually pay if you find the value to give them.
Yeah.
And then I started freelancing. When I started freelancing, I wasn't making that much. I would have people pay me 70K to create 30 videos. But I did it. And I remember when that woman came to me and told me that price, I almost said no. I said no, honestly. She came back again. And I remember the Holy Spirit said, just take it. And I did it because, I don't know, I just did it. But in that one job, I gained experience of dealing with difficult clients because she was the most difficult, least paying person I ever. It's crazy. But yeah, I learned how to deal with difficult clients. I learned how to work under intense pressure because when I'm creating her 30 videos in 2 days, she's like, where are my videos? And I'll send it. So I learned how to do so much in little time.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot in that year. But I remember that I think it was 2021 I can't remember. But I just woke up. It was January and I went to see the Holy Spirit a lot because
that's okay.
And the Holy Spirit just said it's time to increase your prices. And I almost, how much? Maybe times 5 of what I was charging is what my new price. When I created that price list, I was shook with myself. I'm like, who exactly is going to pay this? Who exactly? I was creating packages of 300K, 500K. But I told myself, you are worth it. The work you do is worth it. I'm good. And I knew I was good. So it was a matter of, there are people who are willing to pay. Because I started thinking about Louis Vuitton. What's even inside the bag? Do you get me? It's just it's
positioning.
It's positioning. I'm like, and I deserve to be paid this. And that was it. And guess what? The moment I finished creating on my package pricing, doing my rate card, Kiniko, I hired I had like 2 assistants. I'm like, I was ready. Oh. I don't know where the work was coming from, but I'm telling you, Jessica, in that January, I don't know how the people found me. I cannot tell you how they found me, but I got 3 like clients who took like the highest paying package that I had. And it was like magic. I don't know how to explain. I say like I have angelic marketing because I've never really marketed. Like people really didn't know that I was creating. This was like brand content creation, creating for brands for their page. I didn't have to show my face. I was just creating videos and pictures. And I had like long-term 6 months contracts with them. They were paying me good. You
were eating good.
And one thing that I've learned that has helped me to grow in earning as a creator is just being excellent. I say it all the time, like, if you're an excellent person, it will speak for you. You do yourself a disservice by not doing good work, by putting out mediocre work, because it's just there. I will not recommend you. Why should I do that? But for every client I've worked with, they've always recommended me so much. So that's how I've grown. I never really market. I don't know if you even knew I used to create content for brands.
I don't think you've ever showed it.
Yeah, I rarely do. But it's going on behind the scenes and it's growing on its own. And it's simply because I ensure that any work that I put out, any work that you give me, I'm going to do an excellent work. It will be so good that anybody that mentions anything content creation is my name that you're going to remember to call. So that's how I ensure that I keep growing, especially in that aspect. As an influencer, like I said, my numbers are not that high. I have less than 18K followers, but it's still the same mindset of excellence. When I do something for a brand, they are most likely going to come back because I did it well. I ensured I delivered well. I ensured I delivered on time. I try my best to communicate if there's anything. Just trying to be excellent. People like when somebody gives you a good service, you're going to go back. If you go somewhere and they cut your hair well, you're going to keep going back to that barber. So that's my strategy. Be good, be excellent as much as you can, and it's bound to grow.
I think that's a very good strategy because even when I'm doing my master's and we're talking about marketing strategies, one of the best strategies that you can ever have is to have people, is word of mouth, to have people
who can speak for you.
Yes. Because basically they tell somebody else and the people believe them because when you go to a friend and say, guy, I need this thing, and they say, oh, this person did it for me, you believe them. You're not even going to try to research. It's like, if you've done it for my friend, they love it, then I already love you and I believe that you can do it. So like, it's a very beautiful strategy to have, and it's good to know that you're very aware of the thing. I think that sometimes people don't realize the ripple effect of whatever.
Small things, yeah.
It's like, oh, this thing, you don't
it's not immediate. You're not going to get the feedback like the whatever immediately. But
so you just neglect it. But having that mindset of, oh, let me put all my best into this because it could come back in double folds eventually. It's a very good
people
mindset.
That work with me are probably tired. Honestly tired, but honestly, I'm very nitpicky and they don't understand. I don't know. They now understand it, honestly, because I feel like if you let one small thing go, that's how you keep letting other small things. I'm just like, this is the standard. If it's not up to this standard, so why are you sending it to me? You have not finished, so finish it. I'm just like, so I think it's also good for them. At the end of the day, they enjoy it because you see yourself getting better.
Yeah, and eventually, if they work with you, if you don't have a client, if the person doesn't love the work that we've done, how am I going to pay you? Who's going to pay you? So you better make sure that you keep it going well. Okay, so let's go back a bit to where you came to Lagos. Coming to Lagos, do you think that played a role in your content creation game, working with brands?
Definitely.
I know that Lagos is the land of opportunities.
It is. I can't deny that Lagos was very instrumental in my growth as a creator.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't know, like it's the center of everything. People are more open to content. I schooled in Enugu, and when I was creating content there, I just remember how much peanuts like people would prize you, and it's not their fault. That's just the environment.
Yeah,
it's not yet a thing, and so moving here definitely opened up opportunities for me.
Wow, that means more people are going to want to come to Lagos. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean,
I plan to move out of Lagos eventually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just want to be here and
make the money.
Establish some sort of
presence.
Yeah, I can travel in and out, but I don't see myself living long term in Lagos.
Lagos, why?
I don't like Lagos.
But it's the land that made you money now.
Yeah, but like it's a crazy place. I'm a chilled babe. I don't like stress.
I agree. Lagos can be stressful.